Okay, everyone, I think we're all back now from our break and ready to jump in with our third and last session. Salama, are you all good? Are we ready to start?
Yes, Ina, I can see
Okay,
your
and
slide and I
you
can
can
hear
see the
you
slides.
clearly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You guys, you can see Salama and I've been doing this for a while. She knows exactly what I'm going to ask. Okay, so we in third and last session, and we still are focusing on learning unit number 5, where we're looking at recording of credit and sundry transactions. So if you've maybe only joined us now, we have previously covered the creditors journal, debtors journal, and how to post those to the general ledger. So if you do want to revise those topics, you can just watch our previous video. But in this video now, we're going to focus more on the general journal and the entries in the general journal. So as we said previously, make sure you've got your textbook and paper and pen ready so you can work alongside myself and Salama. So just so you can put faces to the voices, I'm Ina Frost, and with me I've got Salama Parker. So please remember to keep putting those questions in the chats so that we can help you as we go through the session. We are recording this session, and later today it will be available to everyone on YouTube. So even if you miss something now as we go through it, you can then go and watch it again later today on YouTube. Our exam, just to remind those who've maybe just joined us or who's only watching this video, it is a 2-hour long paper, and it will count out of 100 marks, and it covers all the learning units in your Introduction to Accounting 1A textbook. So as I said in our previous session, we were working through Learning Unit 5. We were saying how important it is to know your theory. We've shown you how to do the debtors allowances, creditors, credit allowances. We've spoken about the fact that you mustn't forget everything we showed you in Learning Unit 3 when it comes to VAT, because it's still as important in Learning Units 4 and 5 questions as what it was in Learning Unit number 3. We showed you how to post our journal specifically to the debtors and creditors control accounts, and we spoke about your trial balance. Now, the next things that they want you to know how to do in this learning unit is the accounting equation. So now we need to be able to do accounting equation questions with VAT, without VAT, cash transactions, credit transactions, and for both inventory systems. And then the other big one that comes out of this learning unit then is how to go about to prepare the general journal. And the bulk of this particular session will be talking about the general journal. So just to remind you again then, in this learning unit, they do expect you also to be able to do accounting equation questions. So that's not just something for learning unit 2. It also comes out in learning units 4 and 5. And remember then, when it comes to accounting equation questions, you have to be able to do them without VAT or with VAT. So make sure you are reading carefully in the required. We said earlier you have to read your required with great care to make sure, are we talking about a VAT vendor, or are they not a VAT vendor in this question? And then you have to be able to do it for both perpetual and periodic inventory. So please make sure you have revised the questions that's up on your slide now. And before we go too much further, Salama and I also just want to talk to you a little bit about study tips, because we just want to make sure that you know how to prepare yourself for this upcoming exam then. So in terms of your study tips, try not to cram the night before the exam. I know there's not too much time left now before the exam, but where possible today and tomorrow, set enough time aside so that you can work through all the different questions. Where should you be doing your revision? Preferably in a kind of a quiet space. I read somewhere they said you should actually, your study space should look like an exam venue. so that when you walk into the exam venue, you will already have sort of experienced what it's like to be in such a quiet space. Try and put away cell phones and other screens that might distract you. Distract you. Oh, I said distractions. I think that was a misspelling there. And try and work sort of solidly for 25, 30 minutes without any of these distractions, so that again you can really just focus and do your best preparation. What to do then in your revision time? Try and break it up for yourself in smaller questions. So preferably don't try and do a question sort of with all the journals, general ledger and trial balance. Kind of try and break it for yourself in smaller chunks where you say, in this next 30 minutes, I'm going to do a debtors journal, or in the next 30 minutes, a trial balance, so that it doesn't become overwhelming. If you can kind of give yourself little links back to you, so if there's things that you're struggling to remember, if you can maybe relate that to yourself, it might help you to remember a particular fact. And then try and test yourself either against textbook questions or past paper questions to see if you really understood the concept. And also try and mix things up a bit, because obviously in the exam paper, we're going to mix up the different learning units. So try and do the same for you, so that you can see if you can jump from one question to the next. Saloma, while we're on the slide, is there anything you want to just add in for our students?
Hi, Ina. Yes, very important again. To revise, I'm not sure, I don't think you've mentioned that the importance is also to work through all the activities in the textbooks, and then the past papers, to use them as additional practice. That is very important when they're testing themselves, whether they can do the VAT calculation. So very important that they do work through those past exam papers. All that it has been made available to them remember, the lecturers have posted them on R, so they just need to work through those past exam papers. The solutions are there, and very importantly, again, in the textbook also, we have provided the solutions for all the activities. So please do work through those activities. And very, very important also is, as Ina mentioned now, don't cram the night before, okay? Even while you are studying now, do take your little breaks, okay? Have your water, okay? Sip and drink your water all the time. That is very important. You need to keep yourself hydrated. And if you do feel a bit tired, just get up and take a bit of a walk, okay? And then you come back and you continue again. Okay, and maybe the important thing is, as we mentioned, that you need to study the theory. So if you really starting out now, focus on your theory. So on the time that you may be a little bit not so energized, then you can maybe start practicing those calculations. Okay, so all those little tips, I'm hoping it will assist you while you are preparing for your upcoming exam next week. Thank you, Ina.
Thanks, Saloma. Okay, and as we were just talking about, Saloma just mentioned to try past paper questions. So here again, I just wanted to show you, here's a past paper question with an accounting equation question that we were just saying that you need to know it with VAT, without VAT, and for the two inventory systems. And just to recap then, remember in terms of our exam tips, that tip number 2 is all about managing your time. So if this question was in your exam, then you would have had roughly 14 minutes to complete this question, because remember again, we're working at 1.2 minutes per mark. So that means you've got roughly 14 minutes. And just to caution you again, you don't want to spend too much time, more time than 14 minutes on this question, because that's either going to mean that at the end of the paper, you've got to start rushing through things, Or worst case, you start leaving out questions. And remember, this paper is only out of 100 marks. So if you start leaving out 20-mark questions, then it's really, really going to impact your marks. Then the other point that we made was how important it is for you to read all of your required and all of the information and really make sure you see all the little detail that's in it. So let's just read again through this and just make sure that we see all the little details that was included in this question. So here you can see they remind us that when we show the impact on the accounting equation, so down here, we have to remember to show the plus and the minus sign. So they actually give us an extra reminder here in the detail. They tell us here that this business is not a VAT vendor, so we're not going to be doing any VAT calculations or transactions because that's just going to waste our time. And then they tell us which inventory system is being used in the question. So please, students, don't be so anxious in the exam that you rush through this and think, oh, this is not really important. I've just got to get to this part. And then you miss out on all these key little details that is built into each question. So this one was the 2025 exam. The student was given 3 entries and they had to show the impact on the accounting equation. In 2024, they gave the student a little bit of a variation on the theme. So in this one, instead of saying do the accounting equation, they kind of just did a sort of a half completed accounting equation, and you just had to supply all the missing amounts or details or account names. So this can be a slightly different way in which we can also present an accounting equation question to you in the exam. And then again, just those little theory questions that we so much like to add in. So here we said to the student, they must tell us which inventory system is being used in the question and how did they know that. So obviously, here we see there was drawings by the owner and the trading inventory account was credited. So that would be a clear sign for us that the business was using perpetual inventory. So here you can see also how we can weave different learning units into one question. Okay, and then we said the last thing we want to talk to you about that you must know out of Learning Unit 5 is how to do these general journal entries. So let's now focus specifically on the general journal entries. And in this regard, what you can do for revision, there's example 5.1, that is a very comprehensive example, and then question 5.4. That's also a really excellent question on general journal entries. So we spoke about this a little bit before, I think in our first revision class, where I was telling you that in first year accounting, there's actually only a handful of entries that we can really test you on in an assessment. And if you can understand how to record that handful of entries, then you will see whether you're doing a textbook question or a past paper question, they are all really just the same entry, but with a different business and with different amounts. And the same thing applies here to our general journal entries. Again, there's only really a handful of entries that we can test you on. And if you understand the general journal entries for these entries, then there's not much we can ask you other than these entries. So the first typical entry then is our owner that contributes an asset to the business, and the input VAT could either be claimed or not claimed. Those are 2 variations. Then if the owner takes assets from the business, and the one most frequently asked is if the owner takes inventory. And when we spoke through Learning Unit 6, remember we looked at the entries where the owner took inventory for the 2 different inventory systems. Then there can be settlement discounts that we receive from the creditor. There can be settlement discounts that we grant to our debtor. We can charge interest on a late debtor's account, or Our creditors can charge interest on our accounts. There can be credit losses, and then there's corrections of errors. And specifically, when it comes to the drawings of inventory and settlement discounts received from creditors, for these two entries, you must be able to do it for both inventory systems. Okay, so that's why we said at the beginning of each question, you must check which inventory system is being used because it has impact on a number of different entries. So let's take an example now, and then we see how do we go about to create the general journal entry for a particular transaction. So in this transaction, then we said our owner makes a capital contribution in the form of furniture, and the receiver of revenue, or SARS, says, yes, we can claim the input VAT. So we now need to record this transaction in our general journal. Now, first, let's just see what goes into the general journal. So in this first block for details, here we are looking for the names of general ledger accounts. So with other words, we want to know which general ledger account are you going to debit and which general ledger account do we have to credit. And remember, again, if we say general ledger account names, what do we mean? We mean these names. We mean all of these accounts listed in that example 2.10 in Learning Unit 2 of your textbook. So the first thing that you need to do when you are asked to prepare a general ledger entry is to take a step back and say to yourself, okay, which two or more general ledger accounts are being impacted by this transaction? So our transaction said our owner contributed furniture. So I wonder if you guys can tell me which two general ledger accounts will now be impacted by this transaction. Salama, can we see if the students will put it up in the chats quickly? Do they know which two general ledger accounts will be impacted by this transaction?
I'm still waiting for responses, Ina.
Okay, let's see, students, if you can quickly just type up there in the chats for us the two general ledger accounts that will be impacted. So there on one side, we have the owner, and on the other side, as a hint, we have the furniture. Okay, I'm sure you've all got that, but the two general ledger accounts then is capital and it is furniture. But in the question, they also said that we are allowed to claim the input VAT. So this means we also have to take into account that there's going to be an input VAT transaction or a leg to this transaction. Now that we know the general ledger accounts that's going to be impacted by this transaction, now we have to decide whether we need to debit or whether we need to credit this general ledger account. And how are we going to know which account to debit and which account to credit? We're going to come back to our DebtClick acronym. And in DebtClick, remember, we said asset will increase on the debit side. So that furniture is an asset. So we're definitely going to debit the furniture. And here on the click side, we said that our capital account increases on the credit side. So we can tell we're going to debit our asset furniture and we're going to credit our capital account. And remember, the decreases is always on the opposite side. So our furniture and input VAT, that is our two assets. So we're going to debit those two accounts, and our capital account, we're going to credit. So if we look at it here, so our capital account increases here on the credit side, input VAT increases on the debit side, furniture increases on the debit side. So now that we have a clear picture in our mind of A, which accounts are involved, and B, whether we need to debit or credit these accounts, all that is left over for us now is to write that down in the format of the general journal entry. So all that I'm now going to do, I'm literally just going to copy over into the general journal what I can see on this left-hand side of my screen. And what can I see? I can see I'm going to debit furniture. And you can see there I said furniture, debit. I'm going to debit input VAT, and you can see it there, input VAT, debit. I'm going to credit capital, and there it is, capital, credit. So in your exam, if you can try and on your exam, just quickly there in your answer booklet or on the actual exam paper, if you can just quickly map out for yourself the general ledger accounts involved in the transaction and where they're going to increase, is it an increase or a decrease for those accounts, then you'll see it becomes much easier to construct your general journal entry. So let's go just through it again slowly, how I put together a general journal entry. So step number 1 is I need to write down the name of the general ledger account or accounts that we're going to debit. So in our last example, remember we were debiting furniture. So that's the account name. And to show that I'm going to debit, I place the amount in the debit column. And then we're also going to debit input VAT. And again, to show that, I put it into the debit column. Step number 2 says, write down the general ledger account or accounts that you will be crediting. So in our example, we're crediting capital. So I'm writing down the general ledger account name. And how do I show that I'm going to credit it? By putting it over here in the credit column. Then step number 3 says, check that your debit and credit amounts are equal. So this here represents a double entry. And for it to be a double entry, it means your total debits must equal your total credits. So you have to make sure if you add those two debit amounts together, it does give you 22,500. And then your last step is provide the narration unless the question says you do not need to give them. And what do I mean by narration? Narration is just a very, very short sentence to tell us what exactly, what was this entry about? What happened in this entry? So my 4 steps again, let's go through them. Step 1, which account or accounts am I going to debit? Step number 2, which account or accounts am I going to credit? Step number 3, make sure my debits and credits are equal. Step number 4, add the narration unless the question says it is not required. If you want to practice more entries where the owner makes a capital contribution, you can go back to question 5.4 and you can look at day number 1. In day number 1, they could not claim the input VAT. So it is slightly different from this one where we could claim the input VAT. Salama, anything to add for our students?
Hi, Ina. I just actually also posted your tip where I tell them very important to do these T accounts if you map them out. Okay, and the answer has their workings before they're actually going to show us this double entry. And very important, as I mentioned earlier, also is read the required example for step number 4. Read the instructions whether you should include the narration or not. And of course, again, as we can see here, what we are actually showing them again is going back to learning unit 3 is VAT calculation, the inclusive VAT calculation, and having to calculate the VAT amount. And very important again to show those workings, okay? Right, please do show your workings for your exclusive, inclusive, and your VAT amount when recording your transactions in the general journal. Thank you, Ina.
Thanks, Salama. Okay, students, I think now it's time for you to do a little bit of work. So you've got your pens and papers and things ready there. So let's quickly see if you can put together the general journal entry for, the general journal entry for this particular transaction. So I'll give you just a few minutes, but what I really want you to know is just see if you can identify the general ledger accounts, and if you can identify if you're going to debit or credit the accounts. So with other words, you're going to be thinking for me of step number 1. So you're going to think which general ledger accounts am I going to debit and which accounts am I going to credit. So I'm going to just pause here for a moment to give you an opportunity. So write out those T accounts, think about date click, and identify the accounts involved and whether they will be debited or credited. Okay, has everyone had a moment just to get their thoughts together? I hope you all practiced this new little tip that we've given you. I hope on your A4 paper there at your desk, you did draw out the little T accounts and you were able to see where they're going to increase and where they're going to decrease. So we're dealing now with a settlement discount of 575 rands that we are giving to our debtor. So step number 1, then we said identify the general ledger accounts that will be debited. So we are going to debit the sales account, and that will be the amount excluding that. So you can see, as Salama mentioned earlier, to show our workings. So here I am showing you the workings of how did I get to my sales number. So there we go. The sales accounts are going to be debited with 500 rands, which is excluding VAT. There's going to be another debit, and I wonder if you all remembered this one. This is my input VAT account, and my input VAT account is the difference between the amount including VAT and the amount excluding VAT. Then there's also our reminder to say, remember to show your workings. Our second step said which account or accounts am I going to credit. So what am I going to credit? I'm going to credit the debtors control account, and that will be with the amount including VAT. Okay, so you can see there I'm using my full amount, the 575. Just a note here, something I just want to show you here. We write down the debtors control account and we write down the name of the individual debtor, if that information is given to you in the question. Okay, so debtors control and the name of the debtor. Step number 3 is I'm going to make sure that when I add up my debits, they do equal my credit. So 500 plus 75, yes, it does equal 575. So we definitely making a proper double entry. And then lastly, what does step number 4 says? Show the narration unless the question says otherwise. So I'm going to just quickly write down, this was a prompt settlement discount granted to one of my debtors. Okay, were you all able to get this entry? Were you able to identify which accounts are going to be debited, which accounts is going to be credited? I hope you were all able to apply our 4 steps to your entry. Maybe let's just recap then. Step number 1, which general ledger account or accounts as possible will be debited? Which general ledger account or accounts are you going to credit? Make sure your amounts are equal and write down your narration. And again, remember, names of general ledger accounts, you will go back to that example 2.10 to make sure you know exactly what is the name of a general ledger account. If you want to revise more entries where we look at settlement discounts granted to debtors, Go back again to our question 5.4 and look at days 9, 11, and 13. And you can practice those 3 entries. Again, your example, I have mentioned example 5.1 quite a few times because that is such a nice comprehensive example with all the journals, the general ledger, and the trial balance. Then there's question 5.4 and 5.7 and question 6.7. All of these questions are on general journal entries. And lastly, at the back of your textbook in that Learning Unit 7, there's also a general journal entry question. So there's actually quite a few questions in your textbook that you can then practice on general journal entries. Throughout our presentation, I've referred you back to some past papers. So again, if you are interested in practicing some past papers, remember when you go onto the My Emirates landing page, you go to library and then to past papers. That's where you can find our past papers. But just remember, in previous years, Introduction to Accounting 1A shared assessments with a Bookkeeping 1A, and the past papers are actually sitting under the bookkeeping folder. So make sure you check under Book 5111 if you're looking for INAC past papers. But just to caution you again, students, please don't jump to past papers too soon. You have to make sure that you first have a solid foundation before you start attempting past papers. Some of you might remember this slide of mine from previous presentations, but please don't be this student here that tries to leap from the classroom to the past papers. You have to make sure you filled up this gap of knowledge and then only go to the past papers. We said this previously, but in accounting, there are no shortcuts. So please don't think you can just jump straight over into past papers without really working through what is in your textbook, all the questions and all the examples. Before we wrap up for today, just a recap then. Please remember all of our exam tips then. So when you're in that exam room, you're going to be showing us all your workings. You're going to be managing your time so your time doesn't run away from you. And you're going to be making sure you're reading all the required and all the small print in the exam so that you don't afterwards walk out and discuss it with your friends, and then they say, oh, but did you see it was a question where it was not a VAT vendor, and then we don't want you to get all shocked and say, oh no, I never saw that. So please follow our tips and make sure you take the time to read your required properly. As we mentioned earlier, if you do need additional revision on any of our earlier learning units, they're all available to you on YouTube. We've got our playlist there with all the previous recordings. So if you do find now, oh my goodness, I can't remember how to do my VAT calculations, for example, there's a whole nearly hour-long video for you to watch just on VAT calculations. Salama, your last words of inspiration for our students?
Yes, something that I think I need to focus on again is number 4. Please to arrive early at your venue when you will be writing next week. Okay, and again, just please remain calm during the test. If you are a student that is very anxious, then best not to read that you would use the time to read, because I think that tends to maybe bring about anxiety where you maybe see a question that you don't understand. Now you need to complete blank. Okay, so always just focus again, answer all questions. Please, please, as Ina has mentioned earlier on, do not leave out any question, and especially those questions that are 20 marks. Okay, every mark counts in it. Okay, so please answer all the questions. No need to rush through them. Exam paper, you will have sufficient time to complete your exam if you are going to be managing your time. As we've explained right through the presentation this morning, look at your mark allocation. That is going to guide you as to how long you need to spend on a specific question. And please remember that you do not have to start with question one. Always start with a question that you feel most confident on. Okay, and then you can always decide which other questions. But the most important thing is if you want to be successful, if you want to pass this exam, is answer all the questions, believe in yourself, don't give up. Confidence will improve your performance, and I wish you all the best in the exam next week. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ina.
Salama. Then just my last few tips is, I think Salomon also said, stick to your time, read your required, show your workings. And this is a biggie, students. Please, you're only allowed to use your pen in a formal assessment. So even your workings, everything, please complete it in pen on your exam booklet. Thank you very much for joining myself and Salama throughout the semester. We really enjoyed journeying with you. We wish you the very, very best in your exam. And will everyone just send Salama much, much love, because she was very busy answering all your questions there in the chats. And then we wish you well in the exam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ina.
Thanks a lot.